Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another collab with the lovely Lesley Logan of Profitable Pilates, and this is another in our series of The Struggle is Real. And as we get deeper into this series, I really am finding all the exercises that I have a personal struggle with, and this day is no different. Today we're going to look at the side kick series on the mat, and we'll talk about ways to improve it, what's really going on, and how you can make it better. So let's talk about the order of the exercises first. So the side kicks is really the first time in the mat workout where we are on our side. We've had some one-legged things before and one-sided things a little bit, sprinkled in a little bit in the previous exercises, but it's really the first time we're on our side. And just to look at the order of the exercises, this is the lovely Jeroen in Belgium. Hello, if you're watching. So we've been on our front and our back, I should say, and we've been on our back and our front and a little bit in the air. But then the side kicks is really the first time that we are going to be on our side, which is going to foreshadow a little bit later in the exercises where we have some side things as well. So how is this exercise like all the other exercises? So way back up here, the beginning of the workout, we have a very similar exercise working only in the front plane with one leg moving, which is the one leg circle. And I would encourage you to try to make your side kick just as stable on the imaginary mat behind you as it is on the real mat behind you in the one leg circle. So really it's our one leg circle that's put on its side, and then with the added challenge of moving with the leg behind you as well. So let's take a look at the exercise first so we all know what we're talking about. And I'm just going to put this over here. So take your back on the mat concept and line up your back on the edge of the mat behind you. That's to ensure that you're trying to make as straight a line with everything in alignment from your elbow to your shoulder to your hip is going to be in alignment as much as possible, and then your feet are going to be forward on one of the little boxes if you have a studio mat like this, or just off the edge of your mat on the floor. And do take the time, because you want to really set up this angle to give you the most success in the exercise. If you're kind of in the middle of the mat and you're not really angled, it's just going to make it a lot more floppy, and you won't be able to get as strong a work in the center. And make no mistake, this is one of those exercises that fit into the category of exercises that I dislike the most, where there's a lot of flashy movements going on that you can watch and that you can see, but that's really not where your focus and the work is in the exercise to find control. So even though in a moment we're going to be moving the lower body a lot, it's predicated on how solid the upper body can stay. So I'm going to try to keep the box, the line of the hips and shoulders, as square as possible. And then when I bring my leg to the front, it's almost like I'm sitting up on the short box in the tree, so that I'm not going to slouch to get more extension with my leg, because it's not about that. It's about, can I stay long in my back and lifted so I get a stretch maybe of everything behind me? And then, can I keep the lift and the squareness of the box as I extend my leg away from me and behind me, so that I don't kind of let everything go and arch my back to put my leg further behind me. So let's try it in real time. So I'm going to go to the front and 1 more inch, and to the back and 1 more inch, and to the front and 1 more inch, and to the back. And this part of this variation kind of gives a lot of the most problems in the exercise, because often the body is moving instead of staying still. So keep your opposition and imagine that as much as the toe reaches away from you in one direction, your belly button lifts out the top of your head in the other direction, so that as your leg gets longer, you get taller as well. And by getting taller, you probably have to scoop your stomach in. And so that's the front back variation. We're gonna look at the front back, the up down, and then a specific circle. So the other thing that happens is when we go, sometimes the box can stay really square with the hip over the hip as you go front back. But then once the leg goes up to the side, the hip just kind of hikes up and kind of destroys this part of the box and comes down. So see what happens if you press your heels together, and you'll feel like you kind of close the buttocks, shall we say? And then try not to let your bottom stop working just because you lift your leg away from the other leg. You might not go very far, but that's okay. You should feel maybe a stretch, maybe something happening, and you'll just use your bottom, go as far as you can, another inch and down. As far as you can, another inch and down. One more time. And then keep that pressing the heels together, because now you're going to try to make a circle without losing the bottom. And you're just going to make a reasonably sized, pedestrian trip around your hip. This is not any dancy thing. This is not rond de jambe. It's just a circle. And then you're going to do something the other way. Again, each time you get to press your heels together, maybe your bottom stays with you a little bit more. So those are some things to work on in those variations. And throughout the exercise, one of the pitfalls, especially if you have a side that's not as strong as the other, is that bottom leg is going to want to just lie there and do nothing, which is often going to cause the top leg and perhaps the top hip to overwork and and be uncomfortable. So try to imagine what this exercise would look like if you were standing up. So if you had to reach through both legs so that as one leg went forward, the leg that's on the mat is still kind of steadfastly going to stand. So that it's really, this is all working in one direction as your anchor. Give that a try. You can even flex that foot. You're trying to keep your whole foot on the mat. Sometimes the heel wanted to lift up and be like that. You're trying to prevent that, so you can really reach through that heel. You'll feel your bottom working. Stand on that leg. It'll get a little bit of lift in the hip, maybe. And then you'll just try to keep that almost like both legs are doing something versus just one going up and down. So give that a try, see what you think. Keep considering this exercise as a powerhouse exercise for the trunk of the body, so that's really trying to hold together and be perfectly still. And therefore, as you push the envelope and change your range of motion and get stronger and stronger, it's going to demand more in your stomach. It's going to give you more stretch in this exercise, maybe in the front of the hip and the thigh, maybe in the back. And persevere. This used to be my least favorite exercise. I learned it in a mat class years ago, and we were supposed to practice at home. And for some reason, I learned all the other exercises. I practiced them very diligently. But every time I got to the side kicks, I was like, oh, the side kicks, that's going to take forever. I don't have time to do that. And the exercises, of course, that we hate and don't like to do and never do are always the ones that we need the most. And so I really have come full circle on the side kicks. It's one of my very favorite exercises now. It's like a nice puzzle to figure out for my body, and it feels really, really good. So give it a try. If you have any questions about this exercise or other concerns or problems, there's a million variations of exercises in the side kick series that we learned from Ramana. These are just 3 of the basic ones that I enjoy perfecting. And thanks so much for playing along. I will include Lesley's video on the side kicks in the info box below. And I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Bye. What's going to do a lot of the work. So push your legs up in their position like there's sparks flying out your toes. And then push down on the pedal so that you have to lift your waistline to pull it back up. Push that pedal down with your back.